Yeah. So I'm gonna talk today about augmented reality based on video. So video-triggered augmented reality. And we are iCandyLab. We are about 2 years old. We founded 2.5 years ago. We are a Techstars-backed company. And the reason why we're looking into this is because the way we perceive our surroundings, especially with AR, is going to change dramatically. And video is one of the richest sources of information for mankind. And we see that nowadays more video content is being produced than ever. So what we're doing is basically enriching that experience and literally turning any flat screen into an interactive portal. So what we do is basically we're seeing ourselves being the AR lens for video. So 81% of the TV audience is already watching while using a second screen device, so a smartphone or tablet. While we, of course, know that these devices are right now the way to go because it's just like in the homes of billions of people, we are already also implementing first versions for wearables, including for Magic Leap. We have a hardware partnership with Magic Leap, as well as for Nreal. And to give you a rough idea of how that works and how that looks like, it's a purely software-based technology. You can embed it into any existing application. And simply by pointing your phone towards the TV screen, we will be able to detect what you're watching and then synchronize the device with the content that is shown. So if you watch a documentary about San Francisco, for example, in this case, we will deliver the AR layer on top of that, which is representing, giving you access to additional information. So we have our base technology works in 5 steps. It first recognizes the screen within the camera feed. We have trained neural networks to do that. Then we are able to identify the content that you're watching, so whether it's a live broadcast or whether it's pre-produced video, so any sort of video content will be recognized by our technology. And based on that information, we can then synchronize the mobile device with the video content. So what it does eventually is to give you a perfectly synchronized and harmonious experience based on the video content that you're watching. As a next step, it will display the AR layer on top of that, where everybody then can interact with. So it's, as already mentioned, works on pre-produced content as well as live broadcast, and is available for any iOS and Android applications to be integrated in. So we have already worked with a bunch of customers internationally. So in our first customer here actually in Germany was ProSieben. We then moved very quickly to the United States, where we had projects with Nickelodeon. They've been working with our technology for over a year. NBC Universal. And now we're also expanding in Asia, actually. So LG is one of our customers, as well as SoftBank. We also have partnered up with a couple of strategic partners, such as Samsung, 8i, Telavi. Those are all volumetric capturing companies. They do volumetric captures, which we use as a hologram inside the AR experience, and I'm going to show you a bunch of examples in a moment, as well as other accelerator programs like Techstars, German Accelerator, and a company called Sportradar, which is providing us with live data feeds for augmented reality sports experiences. So I would like to show you a couple of use cases that we are working on and the different verticals where actually this technology can be applied. We see that same as with AR in general, there are so many ways to apply it. However, for us as a company and as a startup, we found out that we should just focus on a couple of verticals where we see the most promising results. And one of them is the entertainment field. So as mentioned, we have worked with Nickelodeon in the past over a year right now. They launched with a very popular Kids' Choice Sports Award 2018. They've then done a couple of other activations, and the way they use it is actually that they use it to create user engagement and viewer retention. So it actually helps them to maintain the viewership. And how that looks like is kids could point their phones towards the screen. Then they have interactive experiences where there's like green slime coming out of the screen and covering the entire living room with virtual green slime. that helps them to carry the audience into commercial breaks, for example, which helps them eventually on the monetization side as well. Then for the World Wrestling Entertainment Group, we have done a pilot, a two-stage pilot. The first one I'm going to show you shortly, where we have enriched the superstar entrance. So every wrestler has their signature entrance, and we have partnered up with a creative agency called Neopangaea, based out of Pennsylvania, and they have created this awesome visual effects using our tool, our Unity SDK. And how that looks like, you will see here. There we go. So it's all about the show itself. Just by pointing your phone towards the screen again, we will detect it. We will deliver this kind of visually very compelling experience. You have like pancakes. Actually, these wrestlers, their signature move is like having pancakes, and like unicorns. This is kind of their theme. And we reflected that and built an AR experience which is reflecting that. And as a second part of this kind of pilot, we're actually working on on volumetric captures. So one of the partner companies that I showed you earlier, they are doing volumetric captures which are reacting in real life, in real time, to the content they see. So like there's the two wrestlers, one gets hit in the face, and his hologram will actually react like if he's actually been hurt. So creating this entertainment experience which goes beyond just the TV screen and expands also into the personal living room, so to speak. Yeah, for the first launch that I mentioned, we did it with Pro7 Sat.1. It's the second largest TV network in Europe. And we launched it with their very popular IP. It's called Galileo. It's a science show. It is a primetime show. It airs 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. daily. And we added our AR technology to 11 of their documentaries. So that's between 8 and 11 minutes. So overall, we had more than 2 hours of immersive AR content. And it was consisting out of additional information, gamification. You could visualize 3D models and place them in front of you to get a better understanding of how the processes inside work. And yeah, we were able to get a lot of interesting insights from that. So yeah, what I would like to show you is actually when we launched, we had 365,000 downloads for the application. So this is a new audience that they built for this kind of activation that they can also, of course, monetize. Because if you have 365,000 users or downloads, that will also help you to reach them through new forms of advertisement, for example. And no surprise, actually within a couple of days, the app was ranked #1 on the App Store. So this was a custom-made AR application. Back then, there was like 1.5 years ago, we didn't have the possibility to stream content, so everything was already packaged inside the app, and it was actually over 1 gigabyte in size. Yet, we were able to accomplish 365,000 downloads, which showed us actually that the users and the viewers at home are actually ready for this kind of new visually compelling experience. And when we actually launched, we saw that 20% of the viewers who were actually watching the show at home also engaged in the AR experience that we provided, which means that every 5th person actually who was watching the show also participated in the AR part. And that was something where the TV network was very happy about. Also, of course, we were very happy because we found great adoption. And typically, those kind of interactive experiences which are combined with TV, are typically somewhere around 5% participation rate. If it goes really well, it's about 10%, and we've been able to outperform that by far. So even like towards the end of the activation of the week, we still had over 10% of average participants. So besides that, and I'm very excited to talk about this part, is because we see the commerce vertical, where you are actually using the benefits of augmented reality, which would be better product visualizations, which then result into higher conversion rates, for example, where we are really bridging this with the linear broadcast and TV content. So we are very proud to announce that actually yesterday we launched with our customer LGU Plus, which is the third largest telco carrier in South Korea. It's the telco arm of LG. And together with two of the main home shopping channels, which is GS Home Shopping and Home and Shopping, we have launched the world's first augmented reality home shopping broadcast. So I will show you here how that looks like. It's basically one of their 5G services that they offer. And the way they utilize our technology is to enable a fully immersive shopping experience to drive conversion rate, actually. So what you're going to see here is works as easy as you just start the app, you point it towards the screen, and you don't need any QR code. And then we will be able to detect what product is being sold at that moment. So the viewer can actually rotate the 3D model, can get a detailed product description, and even place it in his living room, for example, so he can see how it actually looks like when he buys it. So these kind of technologies have already been proven that it will help to increase sales. It will also, at the same time, reduce return sendings. And this is something where, especially in the commerce sector, of course, it's not really good for the margins. And therefore, we're really excited to launch this partnership with them. Home shopping in South Korea is also a little bit in contrary to what it is, how it's perceived in the Europe or in the US. Maybe it's a lot of young housewives actually doing that. So also from the target group, we see a great fit there. In terms of commerce, what we also looking into is retail. So how can we actually enrich the retail experience? Because we see that immersive technologies are also going into that field. And we are actually going to launch very shortly a pilot together with Adidas in one of their flagship stores, in this case in Paris. And it's going to be a very immersive and storytelling-like experience. So it's not so much about better product visualization because you're already in the store. But how can you actually convey a story that goes beyond the product that you see but tells a little bit more than that? And I'm going to show you how that actually looks like. So again, they have these huge screens in their retail stores, and this is a product which is made out of sustainable materials. So it's actually from collected garbage from the oceans, and therefore you have this whale swimming towards you, and it's swimming around you. And the idea to say then, okay, let's make a change together, and in this case have a little gamified experience where you're actually collecting trash, for example, around you, which is floating around you, and then to weave that seamlessly into the storyline of this product, which is called Parley, and it's all about this sustainable thread that it's actually being produced from garbage, ocean garbage. So this is something we're going to launch in the Adidas flagship store in November, and we're really excited about that collaboration because Adidas is also a very innovative and forward-thinking brand, and we're very glad to be part of that. So what are the monetization possibilities in this case? For example, as a presenter, we see that a lot of activations, a lot of sports events, for example, have typically sponsors, which are the main presenter. And by pulling in them, for example, in this case, you see like on the left, you see like Snickers as a fictional sponsor for an event. You can create gamified gaming experiences, which enable the viewer to interact with the brand for a very, very long time without feeling intrusive at the same time. So that is one way. The second part, of course, is AR product placement. So think about shoppable drama. So you have a drama or a show which is having a Dunkin' Donut drinks on the counter, for example, like at X Factor, and using that kind of product placement in augmented reality and adding the possibility to interact with it. So, for example, to say, okay, I want to get a coupon, and this is something that is possible to monetize around. And of course, advertising spots like really AR ads. So you know that someone is watching Formula One, for example, then you can deliver an advertisement which is targeted towards that target group. So like probably car-affine people. So you can, for example, say, okay, I have BMW advertising the latest model while showing the program. So from the user interaction side, we offer any sort of interaction possibilities, and I think this is what makes this technology very compelling for all of our customers, because we're actually turning the linear, flat, 2D TV screen into an interactive touch screen. So users can actually try on items, see how they fit to them. They can, with one single click, they can also purchase. That's also one of the main key points of the South Korean home shopping experience, where you don't have to pick up the phone, you don't have to dial in and wait in line and tell them your personal credit card information through the phone, but you can actually just use your phone because you have everything already stored on it. And last but not least, of course, to play around, the gamification is something that is very powerful, where we see long engagement rates of the viewers, where they engaging for minutes. If you compare that to traditional TV advertisements, which air for 30 seconds and then they're gone, only thing you have is maybe some brand impact or some people going then afterwards to Google search. And now we're actually bridging that and bringing that together. So from an interaction standpoint, that is really, I think, very powerful. And last but not least, we are also working on live sports. And this is, I think, very interesting, because for sports, there's just a few content that is being still consumed live, and sports is one of them. We have developed a template-based system which is fed by data, third-party data providers like Sportradar, Delta Opta. Those are data providers, and they are feeding basically data to our templates. And this is like a concept we did for the NBA. So think about you're at home and you watch that, and if you have been to an NBA game once, you know that the whole atmosphere is just amazing. And how can we convey that atmosphere to the viewer at home? This is something that we have tried to solve, and by using, for example, Jumbotron as a central element for navigation, where everything revolves around that big screen, but at the same time providing additional data that you don't get on the venue, because it's just like so fast, and with the phone you can actually engage in that and retrieve any statistics on demand while you're watching the game. So this is something that we have worked on a concept, and we are now already talking to some internationally to some customers about the commercial implementation for this. The way you can actually think about this is as a whole interact. This is like a mock-up, obviously, but what you can do is also tie in, for example, fantasy sports, in-game betting. So really, the monetization part, how you can generate return on invest on this kind of technology, is what we have put into focus in this case. And given the fact that a typical fantasy sport player in the US, while he watches like a game, he has like his phone and his laptop, aggregating that and making that a whole experience visually is, I think, one way to go. Yeah, and as mentioned, of course, if you think about this on the mobile device, that is what we are dealing with right now, because this is just the situation of the market. This is what everybody has already at home in his pocket. But bringing that as a next step to wearables, I think is a very compelling use case. Right. So I walked through those AR features earlier. So, but high level is really that everything that creates interactivity and enables direct transaction is where we see the AR features coming really into place. So last but not least, I want to share something with you. We actually conducted a representative market research, because at this stage, it's late 2019, augmented reality still feels nascent, and we don't know exactly how people see the values being created. But we have conducted a representative research in the US, where we have asked over 1,000 respondents in terms of how they view augmented reality in combination with VR, in combination with video content. And we were really surprised and positively surprised by the results, because actually when we think about AR right now, I think a lot is about monetization. So that is one of the key things that our customers think about when it comes to this kind of implementation. And it helped us to also refine our business strategy here, because we found out that actually on the viewer side, we learned that actually on average, every respondent who sees AR as a value add, they would be willing to pay 17% more for the subscription. So whether that's cable or whether that's your 5G connection or your TV subscription, on average, they would be willing to pay 17% more if they would have this kind of interactive AR features. So this is one way that it creates value and creates also a return on invest. At the same time, of course, one way to monetize is revenue share. So if you think about the home shopping example, where whenever someone does a transaction, you can actually participate from that. So that is something where actually we found out that 21% of the respondents replied that they would be actually intending to use this kind of AR shopping feature if it would be available. So if you extrapolate that to the potential market in terms of conversion, that is also one additional way to monetize. And last but not least, of course, it's the user engagement. So what I mentioned earlier about having sponsored ads, for example, or brands who are actually sponsoring an experience, 40% of the respondents said that they think this is actually going to be a very new and immersive way to consume TV content. So, of course, you can monetize also that kind of engagement in a new way. So overall, we have it's a 20-pages long report. It covers, like it's as mentioned, representative. So it's conducted in the US, and yeah, it covers a lot of data. So if you're interested in that, you can just reach out to me. I'd be happy to share the report with you. I think it provides a lot of insights. So if you're interested in that, you can just shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to send it to you. Right, so this is basically the state of augmented reality on video content. I see we got a little bit of time left, so if you